turn the tide. Let the water go where it wants to go. You can run and hide. You can bury yourself beneath the stones. Somebody told me don't pretend, 'cause everyone could use a friend sometimes. Take some good advice. Don't let your fear decide. That's how you break inside. You don't need to worry. Somebody is waiting down the line. You pick up the pieces. Hey, you'll be alright.
Welcome to my office / bathroom. I feel like Fonzie. Remember, he had an office in the bathroom at Arnold's? Well, for those of you who remember Happy Days, the show. Today, on this episode, we're going to talk more about the MRI process and how that went for me. It's been about 2.5 to 3 weeks. I can't even remember the exact date of emotional turmoil and up and down since the first time someone said, I have cancer. I'm getting better at saying it. I have continued to do my job at the resort in Whistler. I am working in the in-room dining department. So every time you pick up the phone and you call down and say, hey, can I get breakfast? That would come to my department. And then we have a kitchen and we build it all and we set it up nicely for you and we whisk it off so that you can have dinner or breakfast in your room. So that's my job. Due to the pandemic and COVID and the nature of my diagnosis and not knowing yet what's going on or what will happen, I told my employer that I didn't think it was a good idea that I have guest interaction. So here's the really weird part. I feel fine. I don't feel like there's anything wrong with me. I've had this cyst in my breast for a long time, so that doesn't feel any different to me. I don't feel sick, yet I know that I've got a very serious diagnosis. So what was important to us at this point was that I not get COVID. And again, if I do get COVID, it means an isolation period. I may or may not get all that sick. But the big fear that we have as a family, for me at this point, is that if I were to get COVID, it could delay any sort of treatment, or I could go into treatment in a weaker state. So we're going to do everything we can to avoid me getting COVID. That's a tough one because it's just going crazy out there right now. So the things that we've done to prevent that are that we are staying with Courtney and her husband instead of staff housing. And I've told my employer that I am more than willing to work my buns off in their department to help the team in any way possible. I just don't think I should have guest contact. So they have been very good about that. And I've just been doing every task that I possibly can do and learn in our department without going into guest rooms. So that's where that's been. And like I said, physically, I don't feel any different than what I did before I got the diagnosis. Mentally, however, is... I got to admit, I go from moment to moment, not even day to day, but moment to moment where I am like, rah, 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 I got this, no problem, to, oh shit, now what? What does this mean? How is this going to affect Corey and Courtney? How is this going to affect the future? What about my grandbabies? I don't even have any yet, but I sure want some. I am afraid. I don't know enough yet And when I learn more, I'm hoping that that's going to help me. But for right now, it's an emotional roller coaster. So if that's you out there and you're going up and down and up and down, I hear you and I feel for you. Try not to dwell on those worrisome thoughts, but accept them. They're there, they're real. You're not crazy. They might be making you feel like you're crazy, but you're not. And for those of you support people out there, try to understand that it's not that your loved one is being a negative Nelly. It's that these are real life fears that creep into our brains and need to be acknowledged and then need to be moved on from. They'll come back. Unfortunately, they do. And get back on the rah-rah wagon. Because we can do this. We can. I don't know how yet, but we're going to figure it out. So that's what's been happening at work. I finally took a long time, or it felt like it took a long time. It's been probably about 2.5 weeks to get the MRI test. So it's a very expensive test, much more involved than I knew. That's a magnetic resonance imaging test that is looking at the tissues in much more detail and depth, and will give more information to the surgeon to determine the treatment plan. So I wanted to talk about how that works. So again, we head off to the medical imaging department, radiology, where we had the ultrasound done, or where x-rays get done, but now we're moving on to a different department within that, which is the MRI department. They have loads of questions. Because of the type of test that this is, you can't have any history with metals, like you're a welder, you got a sliver in your eye, you're grinding, those kinds of jobs. Those things matter to them. Even the fact that I have dental retainers matter to them. So make sure that you are clear in answering all of the questions, because there's a long list of them, accurately. So be thoughtful about them. I never even thought to consider my dental retainers, but a good thing they asked, because then I was like, oh yeah, I have retainers. Yeah, that's a whole other story. Twice I had braces. But anyways, retainers are in place and they matter for the MRI. Again, super kind people. The process is for me to completely disrobe, although they give me some very classy outfits to wear.
You look like a rapper.
I don't know. It's yeah, I gotta hold my pants up. Don't worry. Anybody going in there is wearing the same stupid outfit, and I felt like the clothes are built for giants. Or for those of you who are way bigger than me, you might think, what am I doing walking around in short pants? But the point is, they need you to undress. Now, I didn't have to take off my socks and I didn't have to take off my underwear because my breast is the area that is of concern. 2 gowns that dwarfed me. I mean, I was engulfed in gowns. But they want you to be covered, they want you to be comfortable, but they need access. So that's why they do that. So the process of the MRI test is that it's a big machine and it's a tube that you are slid into. Now, they give you the choice going in before the test that if you have any problems with claustrophobia, you may want to take a bit of sedation or something, because you're in this tube for quite some time. They indicated 45 minutes. It actually turned out to be about 35 minutes that I was in the tube, and I'll explain more to you about that. For me, I was like, do I have claustrophobia? I don't know. I really had that problem when we went snorkeling that time, and I couldn't breathe, and I freaked out, and I was only in about this much water, and Corey thought, oh my Lord, what are we going to do with her? I'm the kind of person that panicked a little bit when I can't breathe, or if I think I can't breathe, and I just need a little time to work it out in my head. I love snorkeling now, but to begin with, it was a real problem. So the problem is that going into this tube, we don't really have a bunch of time for me to get my shit together. So I did choose to take an Ativan, which is a very low dose, short acting sedation. Just an anti-anxiety. It just takes the edge off. So this isn't a drug that's going to make me loopy or anything, although it could make you quite sleepy. Therefore, you should have a driver, you should have something else going on. And I was just super unsure about how I was going to feel about this, so I didn't take until I got there, because you don't want to take it too soon, because remember, it's short acting. So when I got there, I got all changed. That's when I took the Ativan. And then I followed the fella into a room where, to my surprise, I got an IV. Remember the needle phobia? So I'm not so good with IVs. I want you to know that that's part of the MRI process. So be prepared for it. Again, great nurse, great technicians, great people. They inserted that IV with just a quick prick and it went just fine. I'm sorry, all my patients out there, how many IVs have I inserted into you? I always knew that they were a bit uncomfortable. Sorry about that. So yes, it's a little bit uncomfortable to get the IV, to have the IV in place, but they use it because they're going to put a dye or contrast into the IV at one point during the MRI test. And that's just another way for them to look at tissues. So entering the MRI room, big machine, don't be intimidated by it. It has a bed-like platform that you are going to lay on, which is going to scoot you in and out of the tube. Now, depending on what type of MRI you're having for whatever issue is going to determine how you lay on that table. For me, being that it was my breast, I had to lay on my tummy with my face. It was kind of like a massage table, you know, with the face thing that you put your face in. But there was a large, not large, but about this big bar-like thing that was padded that really went down my sternum, and it supported me here so that my breasts were on either side of it. Then there was some almost mammogram-like pieces that came in and squeezed on that a little bit. Not uncomfortable at all, just so you know. But it's about holding you. You need to be very still. There can be no movement during the MRI, which is another reason that that sedation was helpful. So I lay my face down, I lay on my tummy, my arms go beside me, they support your legs and your feet, and they cover you up, and it was all quite comfortable, really. It's a very loud test, something else I didn't know. And I'm talking super loud, like jackhammering, screeching, whirring noises. Don't be intimidated by that. It's just relax. Just try and relax. It was 35 minutes that I had to lay in that position, and I was thinking, oh no, I'm gonna have an itchy nose. There's something. I know there's something gonna come up. But I did it, and it was okay. So they laid me down. I'm on my face. I'm in my position. I got my IV. The tubes are all there. They give me headphones. There's music. They can talk to me through those. I can talk to them. It's all okay. They give me a call button in case I need to ask for something or I need them. So take that all as comfort if you're heading into an MRI, that you don't need to be afraid. Don't be scared of it. It's new and it's different, and it's all kind of like, what the hey. But it's okay. It is okay, and I managed. So climbing up on there, getting in position, they're very kind people. I look down through that hole, and there's a little mirror. and it's reflecting up. I kept my eyes closed most of the time, but you can feel the machine moving you around in and out of the tube. They talk to you and say, we're going to do this now, and this is going to be 7 minutes, and they tell you all the details. Now we're going to do a different thing, and it's going to be this long, and now we're going to put the contrast in, and you kind of feel maybe a bit of cooling in your arm as the contrast is put in. Again, no pain. And they're talking to me throughout all this. And then there's the music, but of course I couldn't even hear the music because the pounding and screeching was so loud. But it is ear protection for you as well, so that's important. The problem for me in this test is that I had 35 minutes of laying there thinking, wow, this is real. I have cancer. Now what? What does this mean for my future? What does this mean for my family? I opened my eyes and I looked at that mirror, and there was tears dripping down the mirror. And of course the snot starts to run. And I can't move and I can't wipe my nose, but the tears are dripping. And I'm not afraid of the test. I'm not even afraid of the treatment. I'm afraid of what this diagnosis means for my family and my place in my family. I'm not being a negative Nelly. I'm just being afraid of what I don't really know. And that's okay, because as a nurse, I would understand that my patients feel that way. And as another person out there, you who may have a cancer diagnosis as well, I get it. I get that you're afraid. And every now and again the tears will fall and drop on the mirror. You know when you're crying, but when you see your tears dripping down the mirror, it reminds you of how afraid you are. And I am afraid. Good thing we're in the bathroom. The test was over after about 35 minutes. They pull me out, the nice lady comes and gets me some Kleenex, and they're kind to me. They help me off and take out the IV and send me on my way. The part about that I don't like is that I don't learn anymore. I don't know any more about my situation. They can't tell me. They don't read the test, they do the test. It goes off, someone else reads it, and they make a report, and they're going to send it to the surgeon, and the surgeon will tell me. So in the meantime, all I know is I have cancer. Now what? That's just the toughest part so far. And I'm going to go and find out more from the surgeon, but I'm also afraid of that. I am a positive person. My family is very positive, and like I say, I don't feel sick at all. And it's real easy to push this to the back of our mind and just carry on, which is really what we've needed to do these past weeks. Working has been good because it keeps my mind busy. So I encourage you to find something during this time to help you to keep your mind busy. For those of you support people out there, just help your person. Help your person be busy. Help them be positive and understand when those scary thoughts creep into their mind. My next video will hopefully have answers to share with you and a direction that we're going to take At least I hope so. That's the plan. If you're having an MRI moving forward, I hope that some of the information I've shared with you on how it was for me will be helpful to you. And I'd like to hear about it if your experiences have been different. It's a lot. This is all a lot. And I understand what you're going through. So hang in there. Hang in there, all of you. Hang in there, support people. Hang in there if this is your diagnosis for breast cancer or some other type. And we'll move through this together. And I'll share more with you as I know more. We'll be back in the bathroom to talk some more. This really is the comfortable place for me. Maybe not the best lighting, maybe not the best acoustics for sound, but it's the best place for my heart. So hang out with me in the bathroom, and I'll share more with you as we go. If you've shed a tear here, I'm wrapping my arms around you. I really am. Hang in there. This will get better. It has to.
Someone said it's better when you hold on to a helping hand. Sometimes we could all use a friend. Don't let your fear decide. That's how you break inside. You don't need to worry. Somebody's waiting down the line to pick up the pieces.